تفت فؤادك الأيام فتى وتنحت.
The way you said that now is like, obviously we can say, we can cop on a sheikh's verify that. It's not us. We just read a hadith and we just say, this is what we summarize from the hadith. It's better for us to say that certain sheikh said so and so, or
now it doesn't matter because hadiths are not being written now and they're not being compiled. But at that time it was important to chain. It was important. And some scholars actually knew, because the first man who ever did the following up of the chain of narration, who found out that Abu Ishaq al-Sabi'i was like this, was none other than Shu'bah. Shu'bah was the first man practically, even though the Jarh al-Ta'dil existed before him, in the Sunnah and the Kitab of course, but as a field and as a job, Shu'bah was the first man to hear a hadith and say, wow, this hadith is good. And he asked the Shaykh, who told you? And the Shaykh told somebody else, and he told somebody else. Abu Ishaq Shu'bah traveled the world and came back to the same place. Finding out, everyone's like, oh no, it's not me, it's so and so. And then finally he was told, the hadith actually came from where you were at in the beginning. Then he found out that this matter has to be clarified. And what did he say? He said, Wallahi, for this hadith to be authentic would be more beloved to me than anything. He loved the hadith, he was amazed with it. It's the hadith regarding the wudu. Anyone who does the wudu, this is the reward he gets. He wanted it so much. So, but we'll mention that in details when we go to the other point of the kitab, the other books. We want to make this book simple and easy. So we've taken the first condition of authenticity. What is it? Chain of narration is connected. What was the second condition? It can't be shadh. Shadh is a form of opposition. Shadh happens in two ways. Write that down. We're talking about the 5 conditions of authenticity. The first one we talked about chain of narration being connected, and we studied that. We finished it.
5 or 4?
5. Second one is what? Shadh. What is shadh? Shadh is opposition. And that opposition happens in 2 ways. It's a thiqah. First of all, the one that's opposing is a reliable man in the first place. He is Imam Malik, for instance. Like Imam Malik, for example. Or Imam al-Shafi'i, for instance. Somebody that high of caliber and thiqah is the one. That thiqah means a reliable. Where thiqah means a person who's been found in him characteristics of nobility. But he opposes a person. That's the first one. Opposition of a reliable individual who opposes another reliable individual, but more reliable than he is and more stronger than he is. More higher in caliber than he is. You see? That's the first part. The shadh is 2 types, brothers. Pay attention. The shadh is 2 types. The first type is that opposition of an individual who's more stronger than him. And the second one is what? So I'm opposing, for instance, Imran. And Imran is higher than me in knowledge. And he's higher than me in understanding. And he's higher than me in hifd. And he's higher than me and higher than me and higher than me. It doesn't mean I'm not high, but he's just more higher than me. I oppose him. Whose narration is going to be taken? The chance of him getting it right is bigger. So my one's going to be called what? Shadh. My narration is saying left, his narration is saying right. We can't bring the 2 narrations together. If we can, then we don't resort to shadh. We can't say there's opposition. But my narration is saying left and his narration is saying right. Can you bring right and left together? Now we're going to look at Imran as a person, look at me as a person. We're going to say, way out, AbdulRahman's narration out of the window. It's not authentic. We're not going to take it. And we're going to take the narration of Imran. That's the first way. The second way is that I am stronger than Imran. And I'm stronger than Abdullah. And I'm stronger than Saad. And I'm stronger than you. And I'm stronger than Ali. And I'm stronger than Gulad. All of you, I'm stronger than you guys, individually. But all of you are upon one narration and I'm on a different narration. So when you singularly look at each person, I'm more stronger than everyone individually. But as a group, you're more stronger than me in number. We're going to take the number. Mine was going to be shadh. My riwayah is going to be shadh. Because I went against people who were thiqah, high caliber of thiqah. I opposed them. That's the second type. He now opposed a number of people. Regardless of if those people, he's individually stronger than them. It doesn't matter. You with me? That's the second type of shudud. Now he goes مخالفة الثقة لمن هو أوثق منه أما الرواء مخالفة الثقة لمن هو أكثر منه عددا. The first one is a thiqah opposing another thiqah who's more higher than him in thiqah. The second one is a thiqah opposing a number of thiqat. The numbers now become more. That narration is what? Shadh. It's weak. We don't take that. That's the second condition that has to be missing from the hadith, which is authentic.
Imagine the group of people that who you went against. Imagine one of them in the group was known to be a liar. What then?
You can just drop that person out. What about the rest?
And you still go with the rest.
Of course, there's still like 5 of them yet. Like you guys are 6 now, innit? So if you drop if you Sa'd was a liar, there's still 5 I have to beat.
And some of them maybe are not 100, a little bit.
2 people, if 2 people are not 2 people, mukhalafa, shad. It's considered shad.
You 2 thiqa people at least that you're opposing, but to be shad.
If I'm stronger than them individually,
Right. But the 2 thiqa people will overpower you.
we'll beat you now. Shad, we call that type. Are you all with me? It's ما رواه الثقة مخالفا لمن هو أوثق منه أو مخالفا جماعة الثقات. Those are the 2. He either opposes an individual who's thiqa or he opposes a group of people who are thiqat. Doesn't matter if he's stronger than them individually. Is that clear? The third condition, remember, for the hadith to be sahih is what? There's no defect. There's no defect. Salamatu min al-illah. The hadith is safe from defect. What does that mean? What does it mean for the hadith to be safe from any form of defect? This is the biggest one. This is the hardest one. This is the hardest one.
What's the Arabic term for defect?
Illah.
With an ayn.
It's a lot of types. The illah is hardest. Why? Because it's ghamid. I give you guys an example of illah which is very hidden. Imran, does he come to my lessons?
Yes.
He comes to my lessons. And he sees me and he meets me and we know each other. He doesn't come to a particular lesson I give, and that lesson was a lesson where I was narrating hadith, for instance. He missed that class. He narrated it from Wafa, the hadith. He didn't narrate it from, because he was missing from that gathering. And I won't narrate what I narrated yesterday. Every day is a new hadith that I'm going to narrate. He has to be at the gathering in order to hear it from me and write it from me. Sahih?
Yeah.
He wasn't there. That particular sitting, he wasn't there. He heard it from who? How would you know that? And you ascribed the hadith to me because you took Vafra. You said, why am I going to make it even longer? I'm going to take Vafra. I'm just going to jump to AbdulRahman. And I am a person who's alive. You've met me. You studied with me. It's just that one gathering that you're missing. That's a defect. That defect is ghamid. It's very hidden. Scholars of ulama with hadith would identify it. No, they'll know if you were there, if you weren't there. Qara'in, and this is why we say, brothers.
That's not sahih.
Yeah, of course it's not. We need to know who you dropped. We don't know it's Vafa. No one knows it's Vafa that you dropped. We know you dropped somebody. You weren't there at that gathering. Who did you hear it from? They will identify. That's called illah. It's a defect. And that defect is ghamid. Ma ma'ana ghamid? Hidden. And who would be able to know that issue? I'll tell you guys something funny. I'll tell you something amazing about ulama of hadith.
So if you narrated the hadith but he wasn't there and you got it off the brother, but even though I wasn't sure if his name was Ja'far or I didn't want to get the name, but anyways, but Imran gets the narration of the brother, but then he cuts him out. Does that mean illah?
It's a defect. Now we need to know who he dropped.
Now even though you narrated it, but he gets it off him.
Yeah, but he's weak. We need to know who he is. So if he's reliable, if he can be taken. We need each person to know.
Is it only if he's hiding who's taking
Ah.
But what about if he makes it known he's taking it from Vafa and Vafa known to be reliable?
Oh, that's it. The chain is narrated, is connected. But he's not narrated hadith from me.
The problem is the hidden thing. He's
Yeah.
narrating it, but he doesn't.
Remember, the ulama of hadith need to know everyone that is hidden, why he's hidden, who is he, where was he born, where did he die, what did he eat, what is he, who's he? They need everything, history of this person, in order to say, okay, you fulfill the criteria of being an adil. That's how narrations were protected. You hear some people just say this satanic verses. What hadith? Like you need to know that what's the chain of narration? What is the ilm al-hadith? Many of them don't even look at it. I'll give you guys a story, inshallah, that you guys can listen to. Al-Imam al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's a great muhaddith of hadith. He authored a lot of books in hadith. Listen to this story. At his time, the ruler, what had happened was the Jews wrote a letter. and they stamped it however they could. And they said that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the day of Khaybar, the day of what? Khaybar, the Jews that say this. He took a treaty with us that he's not going to take no jizya from us anymore. No jizya with us. See, our Jews, we don't have to pay jizya anymore. Hey, and then they've got the paper. Signed. Stamped. The Prophet's stamp is there. It's amazing. The letter was brought to the ruler. He looked at it, he checked it, he said, okay, what should we do? Nothing. They said, we're not paying. Your Prophet told us not to pay. Are you going to break your Prophet's contract? No. And on the side they wrote the companions who were present, the witnesses of the companions who were present. The issue was tight to the ruler. The country couldn't move. They didn't know what to do. The big money used to come from them. They used to pay jizya. They called Khatib al-Baghdadi, the great scholar of hadith. He came. They told him. He came. When he came, he said, give me the letter. They gave him the letter. He looked at it. He said, this letter is forged. I said, proof? It's forged. You can't just claim it. He said, first of all, the witnesses that they used, this Sahabi wasn't even alive the day of Khaybar. This Sahabi came, he wasn't a Muslim, the day of Khaybar. This companion wasn't even there the day of Khaybar. He was a disbeliever. He became a Muslim. Look at the day they knew even the days that the companions were born. And when they died, just on your right side there, all of you guys. Al-Isaba fi tamyiz al-Sahaba. Ibn Hajar just wrote about the life of the companions. Just all that companions. When they were born, when they died, who is a companion, who isn't companion, we know who we were. All of that is written, it's concealed for us. Ibn Abdul Barr has another book, Al-Isti'ab. What do you call it? Ibn Athir has a kitab, Ustadh al-Ghaba. All of them, just about the ulama of Sahabas. And then after Sahabas, you've got the Tabi'in, all of them. Which madhab are you talking about? Shafi'iyah? Tabaqat al-Shafi'i. Go to Subki's kitab. Are you talking about Hanbaliya? The Hanabila scholars. Go to Tabaqat al-Hanabila. By who? Abu Ya'la al-Musiri. And also the Dhayl of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. Good. The Hanaf, they've got their Tabaqat of the Hanaf. The Maliki, they've got their Tabaqat of the Malikiyah. Each madhab has their scholars in that. So we know every person's birth and death. So it's been protected by Allah through who? ولذلك the Prophet said يحمل من كل هذا يحمل هذا الدين من كل خلف عدوله ينفون عنه التحريف الغالين وانتحال المبطلين وتأويل الجاهلين. Generations are going to come and Allah is going to protect this religion. Through who? Through a reliable people. What do? ينفون عنه التحريف الغالين. They will deflect the interpretation of the misguided ones and their whims and their desires they try to add to the religion. وانتحال المبطلين وتأويل الجاهلين. Ikhwani, look how honest our scholars of hadith was. Even the narration that was weak, they wrote the chain of narration for you. How do they know about the satanic verse? Who transmitted it to them? We did it. We brought it to them. This is a weak narration, but it's here. See it. Even if we don't agree with something, we'll still write it for you. Because we have a qa'idah which is what? Man asnada faqad ahalak. Anyone who gives you the chain of narration, he's done his job. Whether the hadith is authentic or not, it's not my case. Have I given you the chain of narration? You look for whether it's authentic or not. I will give you the chain. Fabricated narrations are narrated. All of them. You need to go and check whether it's authentic or not. Not like you mention what you want, that's for you, and you don't mention what's against you, and you say, nah, it's not authentic, leave it out. No. It's written. It's written and it's compiled. So the people can see it. And then after that, scholars authenticated it and weakened it. But they still didn't touch the first one. They left it as it is. They leave it. They don't touch it. So the defect. And there are many ways of the defect, brothers. It's not just that one. I just gave one. That was just an example. It's just an example. There are, illah, but we're gonna study illah a lot. There's 18 reasons why illah comes. 18. I only mentioned. Not even one. A sub-branch of the first one. The first one itself is 4 or 5 of them. But we're gonna mention, inshallah, the defect. Books have been written on it. Behind you, right behind you, your head, is Kitab al-Ilal al-Warida fi al-Ahadith al-Nabawiyah by Imam Ad-Darqutni rahimahullah ta'ala. Just right behind you. Al-Ilal. Al-Ilal al-Warida fi al-Ahadith al-Nabawiyah. Darqutni rahimahullah ta'ala authored that whole book on it. So we'll study it bi-idhnillah if we ever get the chance to, inshallah. I mean as a science, not that book, but the science of Ilal. Also Ibn Tirmidhi rahimahullah in his kitab, he brought the Ilal. And Ibn Rajab done a sharh of it. He done a sharh of the kitab which is called Ilal, al-Ilal. Ibn Rajab done a sharh of it, we call it Sharh Ilal al-Tirmidhi. Naam. What's the fourth condition? The third condition, right?
The narrator.
So this fourth condition, right? Yeah. The narrators are what? Reliable. What does it mean reliable? 5 conditions. Listen. 5 things makes a narrator reliable. When these 5 are found, he's a reliable. First of all, he's a Muslim, Islam. Kafir, is he reliable? Never. A kafir is not reliable in hadith. But listen, if he hears the hadith why he was a kafir, and he narrates when he's a Muslim, we will take it from him. And the Sahabi did that, Jubair ibn Mut'im. When he heard Surah Al-Tur, أم خلقوا من غير شيء أم هم الخالقون أم خلقوا السماوات. Bukhari narrated in Sahih. Jubair was not a Muslim at that time. He said, I listened to it. فكاد قلبي أن يطير. My heart was about to fly out when I heard the verses. Amazed. Ajib. And he was a disbeliever. He narrated the hadith when he became a Muslim. So what did the ulama say? عند الحمل, when he's taking, عند التحمل, when he's taking the hadith, we don't care what religion he's on. Like in عند الأداء, when he's transmitting it to us, we're going to say, is he a Muslim? No. Become a Muslim, we take it from you. So Islam is a condition when conveying the hadith. Remember that, okay? Once conveying the hadith, has to be a Muslim. The second one is he's mukallaf. Mukallaf is a person who's reached age of puberty and he's sane. He's sane and he's reached age of puberty. That's what's meant by taklif. He's a person who's reached age of puberty and he's what? He's sane. He's not insane. We won't take a narration of a little child and we won't take a narration of a crazy person.
So what's the Arabic for reliable?
And adala.
And adala.
Naam. Third one is that it's needed for him is ijtinabul fisq. He has to abstain from major sins or doing sins in the open. Stay away from major sins. And he stays away from doing it in public or mentioning it in public. Such as lying, drinking khamar, zina. A lot of us would.
Trying to collect the hadith these days. Everyone sin left, right, and centre, bro.
So a lot of things fall under the lying. A lot of things fall under the lying. If he lies, if he's suspected of lying, it's a high suspicion that he's a liar. He makes halal that which is haram. He makes haram which is halal, etc., etc., etc. But basically, he's not fasiq. رابعا, the fourth condition, which is أن يتقي خوارم المروءة, that he abstains from bad moral conduct. Bad moral conduct. He's not an individual who laughs so much. His teeth, you can see he laughs too much. He's not always on the streets walking. You always see him on the streets just walking every day. His brother, it's like he lives on the streets. La, that goes against the khul. Drinking on the streets, standing, and all of that. Naam, one should not. These were khawarim al-muru'ah. And la shakka, we have to remember that morals differs. Not all morals, but generally morals differs from places to places. The custom of the people determines it. Some places it's not bad morals to do that. Some places it is. It's bad. It's looked down at a person just in the middle of the street.
I read there's bad etiquette. Ulama, they say it's bad to eat and drink on the street.
Naam.
Even in restaurants.
Naam. Imam al-Bukhari never used to take from a person who ate on the streets. Never. Never took a hadith from a person who ate on the streets.
Why is that?
It goes against the conditions of adala. Khawarim al-muru'ah. Bad conduct.
But nowadays it's okay, right?
Naam. Now now everything's okay. Now everything's okay. Everything's okay. قال الحميدي عبد الله بن الزبير. الحميدي عبد الله بن الزبير, he said regarding the third condition of adala, which is what? Which is ألا يكون مغفلا, that he's not heedless. He's not heedless. As Humaydi Abdullah ibn Zubayr, do you know him? He said, Shaykh al-Bukhari, look what he said. الغفلة التي يرد بها حديث الرجل الرضا الذي لا يعرف بكذب. A person who just takes any narration, like anyone can come and just read any narration to him. Talqeen, he'll just accept it. يقبل التلقين. Anyone can come up to him and say, Shaykh, this is your hadith. Hey, listen. Yeah, you're right. It's true, it's my hadith. It wasn't your hadith. He's heedless. He doesn't know anything. Are you listening? His adala, his justness, it goes against his justness, they say. It goes against his? Na'am. Because they consider that as though a form of lying. If you don't know something, just say, I don't know it. I don't know what hadith you're reading. When you say it's my hadith, you lied. So that hadith, that's what Abdullah ibn Zubayr said, rahimahullah ta'ala, that he accepts. من لقن فتلقن تلقين يرد حديثه الذي لقن فيه. نعم. The dabit also, the other condition, which was, we finished the adala, right? The last one, the 5 condition. Dabt, his memory. And that the person is dabt. There's 2 types of dabt, brothers. Brothers. There's 2 dabts. How many dabts are there? Dabt means memory. There's 2 forms of dabt. One that's memory of the mind and the memory of the book. You might be like, what? Yeah. A memory of the mind, meaning he in his chest, he has the narration. And the second one is, he has dabtul kitaba. And Imam Yahya ibn Ma'in, rahimahullah, he said, الثبت ثبتاني ثبت صدر وثبت كتاب وأبو صالح كاتب ليثي ثبت كتاب. He said the thabt, meaning the memory, is 2 types. The memory of the chest. And the second one is the memory of the book. He said, as for Abu Salih, he is who used to narrate from Layth ibn Sa'd. His memory wasn't the chest. His memory was the book. So these are the 2 memories that exists. A memory of the mind and a memory. What is the dabit? What is the principle to know that a person's memory is good? How do we know? How do you know a person's memory is good? Is that أن يكون الراوي قد حفظ مرويات في صدره. That his hadith, he knows it off the top of his head. وأتقن حفظها لها. And he solidified the memory of his hadith. واستمر هذا الضبط. And that memory, it carries on. معه with him لحين ما يحدث بهذا الحديث من حفظه. From the time he heard the hadith and he took it on, until the time فيؤديه إلى غيره, until he conveys it to the people. He can keep it. Another dabit that they bring is, or another way to find out that the person's memory is good is, whenever he's asked to narrate the hadith, he can bring it. He can't say, give me a minute. He knows it, but he's like, give me a minute. Then he reads it. There's something wrong. He has to be spontaneous. Remember, brothers, we're talking about some hadith which were 2-3 pages. We're talking about chains of narrations. Sanad men. All of the chain, from him to the Prophet, he'll mention it. All the chains. And some people, the scholars used to test each other on that. Did Imam al-Bukhari get tested on his memory? Yes, he got tested. He got tested. Some men put him in the middle, they sat him down, and they asked him hadith. They mixed the chain and the hadith with each other, and different order. And Bukhari listened to all of them, and he said, when you finished, he didn't just memorize the hadith. He knew each one what he said. He said, you finished, your narration, give it to him. You give his one. You give this one. Give this one. All of them, he said, give it, organize it like that. هذبهم. He organized them. That was who? And Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala. He memorized his memories like that. Rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. The other person was Abu Nu'aym Fadl ibn Dukayn. Abu Nu'aym Fadl ibn Dukayn. Yahya ibn Ma'in and Ahmad ibn Hanbal went to him. Listen to the story. They went to him. When they went to him, they sat in his house. Those times, there used to be the house, these luxury chairs that we sit on, and these didn't exist. There was little sands and muds that used to be brought together, and that was the stool. There was a little stool made out of sand and mud that was brought together. So Yahya ibn Ma'in sat on one, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he sat on one, and Abu Nu'aym sat in front of them. Yahya, before they entered, he said to Ahmad, I'm going to test this man, Abu Nu'aym Fadl ibn Dukayn. Ahmad said, don't test him, please. I know his memory is strong. Take it from me. He said, no. I said, I have to find out for myself. Ahmad told Yahya ibn Ma'in, said, you take it easy. Don't worry. His memory is verified. I know it. Yahya said, no, your word isn't sufficient. I need to know. So when people ask me about Abu Nu'aym Fadl ibn Dukayn, I can tell them what type of person he is. They went, okay. Ahmad said, okay, it's up to you. So they sat in front of Abu Nu'aym Fadl ibn Dukayn, and when they sat in front of him, Yahya ibn Ma'in, what did he do? He had a set of narrations for him. Each narration, he will narrate a hadith of his for him. And then after that, he will add a narration that isn't his. And then a narration that's his. And then a narration that isn't his. So he asked him 10 hadiths. 5 were his, 5 weren't his. Every time he reads a hadith, he looks at him and says, that's my narration. The next one, no, that's not my narration. Get rid of that. And then he saw it was a pattern. So it was a pattern. So what did he do? He took his cloth, his garment up, he pulled it up, he got his leg and he kicked Yahya ibn Ma'in on the ground. And hard, so hard that Yahya ibn Ma'in stumbled on the ground and he stood up. And he looked at Ahmed and he said, Wallahi, I know you're honorable to do that. Higher than to do that. I know he plotted this against me. Ha. When they stood up, Yahya ibn Ma'in and Ahmed left them gathering and they went out. Ahmed said, did I not tell you? Look what Yahya ibn Ma'in said. He said, Wallahi, you did. But I now found it for myself. Wallahi, the kicking of Abu Nu'aym was worth the journey. That journey I cut to come to verify this issue. I know wherever I am, if I hear the hadith of Abu Nu'aym, I know where it came from. It's worth it. I got what I wanted. Whether I'm kicked for it or not doesn't matter.
Isn't that considered bad conduct?
Nah, they were verifying the narrations.
No,
Was
to
it?
kick a person.
This was a sheikh, innit? It's a sheikh.
Is allowed to kick you.
Sheikh, yes. Naam. So he did. So his memory, what did he become? Babtu Fuadin. His Babtu Sadr. He had it in his memory, in his chest. Abu Nu'aym Fadl ibn Dukayn, rahimahullah ta'ala. Hayya. Hayya. We finished the 5 conditions, right? And mithlihi. The memory of the book is that. The memory of the book, it means 2 things. 2 things. When we say memories of the book, it's 2 things. First one is that his book is protected. It's not not everyone can get it. Imagine if his book, everyone can get it, just write something on it and just put it back in his shelf for him. Should be in a protected place. Mahfuzan lada rawiyu. The narrator, he should protect his book from any person of coming, playing around with their book, his book. If somebody says, I want to copy from your book, he has to say, okay, copy it from it now. Let me see you copying it. He has to keep eye on of the person. This is protective of his book. The second one is he can read from his book. When he opens it, he knows his book very well. If somebody does choose to add something to his book, because he's human, he knows it. So this is not me. I never wrote this. His memory of his book is very strong. Now he knows his book in out. You with me? That is the 2 conditions. First condition is that his book is protected and safeguarded from the people. If that doesn't happen, and it isn't, he knows if any person does choose to tamper with his book, what does he do? He's able to know and can correct his own book. He knows it like that. And mithlihi, so the Shaykh, we're going into the Nazm again, okay? We mentioned the 5. So awaluha, what's the first condition? Sahih. How many conditions are needed for Sahih? 5. How many have to be present and how many have to be absent? 3 have to be present. What are the 3 that have to be present? Go back to your... We're making it easy now. We said 5 conditions are the 5 conditions of authenticity. 3 have to be present. First of all, the chain of narration has to be connected. The narrators have to be reliable. And their memory is good. The 2 have to be mission is what?
No defects and no shad.
It can't be no illah and no shudud. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? 5 conditions have to be found. 5 conditions are authenticity. 3 have to be found and 2 have to be missing in order for the hadith to be authentic. The 3 that have to be found is what? Chain of narration is connected. 1, ittisalus sanad, present, good. The second one is tamud dabt, the narrator's memory is on point, good, present. Third one is what? Adalatul ruwat, the narrators are all reliable. Those 3 have to be present. And the other 2 have to be missing, which is what? Shadh, it has to be not there. The hadith shouldn't be shadh. And the hadith can't be illah. And the hadith cannot be illah. It can't have no defect. Now, any form of defect or any form of opposition shouldn't be in the hadith. The other 3 have to be present. One more time, let me say it again. One more time, I'll say it again. 3 things have to be present. The chain of narration is connected. The narrators are, memory is on point. The third one is, the narrators are reliable. Adalatul ruwat. When these 3 are found, no, it's not sahih yet. These 3 are found, present, good. The narration shouldn't oppose another narration. These have to be absent. No opposition and no defect. No defect, no opposition, and those 3 present. This is hadith is sahih. Did you guys all learn what sahih is today? You guys know what sahih means today. If you say hadithun sahih, what does it mean? These 5 conditions. 3 have to be present and 2 have to be?
No, 3 has to be present.
3 have to be present and 2 have to be missing. صح 3 صح. علة. نعم. Now we're going to go to the next one. Now we're going to go to the next type, which is what? والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله لك الصحيح اشتهرت. Hasan is what? 2 types. Now, first of all, write it. It's a sound narration. It's a sound narration. But what are the types of Hasan?